25 years of silence, gone in 8 words. Jeff Bezos built a trillion-dollar empire, but last night, his own son called it a beautiful mess. Why would the heir to Amazon torch his father's legacy now? And how bad is the secret he says we're all ignoring? Preston Bezos entered the world in 2000 with every material advantage imaginable. Yet from day one, the family rule was simple: no spotlight. When Amazon's first million packages were still being packed by hand, Jeff and Mackenzie wrote friends a 2-line email. "We'd love you to meet the baby, but please, no photos online." That boundary only hardened as Amazon stock went vertical. By elementary school, Preston was already living a double life. Weekdays meant a nondescript private academy in Seattle, where classmates knew him only as PB. Teachers signed NDAs. Field trip buses had tinted windows. Birthday invitations banned phones at the door. The cocoon worked, sort of. A leaked yearbook page in 2013 showed a shy grin and a single club listing: Fantasy Literature Society. The image vanished from the web within 24 hours, replaced by a legal takedown notice.
In middle school, most billionaire kids flex sneakers or super yachts. Preston flexed silence. He wiped every social account the moment a peer followed him, then reopened under a fresh alias, first on Tumblr to debate Tolkien lore, later on Discord servers trading fan fiction critiques. One classmate recalls asking why he never posted a selfie. Preston's answer: "When people see your face, they decide your story for you." It wasn't false humility, it was strategy, his armor against the Bezos name. High school ramped up the secrecy. Friends were picked for loyalty over popularity. He bicycled to campus instead of arriving in a Tesla, knowing a single paparazzi shot could sell for 6 figures. Nights at home, while Jeff was sketching Blue Origin rockets, Preston and Mackenzie binge-read The Silmarillion aloud, dissecting its warnings about power and corruption. The contrast was stark: a father racing to commercialize low Earth orbit, a son absorbed in a saga that condemns empire building for its own sake. Through it all, Preston's public footprint stayed whisper-thin. A blurry gala photo here, a Reddit AMA screenshot there, each gone before the algorithm could surface. The scarcity fueled myth-making. Was he plotting a philanthropic foundation, training as a Blue Origin pilot, or simply trying to live one normal semester before destiny dragged him back? Every unanswered question made the next one louder, because in a world that overshares, radical silence is its own kind of headline.
Yet even diamond-grade privacy can fracture under enough pressure. A lesson the Bezos household was about to learn in 2019, when one very public divorce forced every hidden feeling into the harshest light. And that, more than any tabloid rumor, is what finally made the silent heir start taking notes. January 9, 2019 was supposed to be a polite press release day. Jeff and Mackenzie tweeted a joint statement celebrating wonderful shared years and co-parenting bliss. Hours later, the National Enquirer detonated the illusion, dumping explicit texts Jeff had sent helicopter pilot anchor Lauren Sanchez, messages her own brother allegedly sold for $200,000. That single tabloid drop rewired the Bezos household overnight. Mackenzie lawyered up in Washington. Bezos' security chief launched a counter-probe that claimed political blackmail, and the kids were herded behind tightened gates. Preston, then 19, was at Princeton, sitting through an 8 a.m. history lecture when the push alerts hit his phone. Classmates whispered, "Bro, that's your dad trending #1. He left the room without a word and, according to a dorm RA, spent the next 2 days off-grid, laptop dark, phone on airplane mode. The settlement came fast, but felt anything but clean. Mackenzie received roughly 4% of Amazon stock, about $35 billion, while Jeff kept 75% and all voting rights. Wall Street cheered the no-drama split, yet inside the family, the ground kept shaking. Vacation homes were reassigned, security details reshuffled, even holiday traditions renegotiated. One insider says the annual Bezos cabin Christmas died that year because Preston refused to fly to Aspen if new +1s were invited. The tabloid circus only intensified. Photos of Jeff and Lauren on yachts surfaced weekly. Late-night hosts mined sex for punchlines.
Journalists camped outside Mackenzie's new home until she started dropping billions on charities, flipping the storyline from scorned ex-wife to philanthropic powerhouse. For Preston, that whiplash, watching his mother turn scandal into generosity while his father traded privacy for paparazzi, became the lens through which he judged every headline afterward. By autumn 2019, the external noise faded, but the internal cost calcified. Sources close to the family describe a new dynamic: Jeff communicating through assistants, Mackenzie insulating the younger kids with therapists, and Preston carving out an ideological island all his own, equal parts Tolkien heroism and hard-nosed accountability. He wasn't rebelling with Ferraris or club photos. He was rebelling with principles, and a running mental ledger of every moment of silence felt like complicity. That ledger, still quietly filling pages, would later make one grainy 2-minute clip feel less like a surprise and more like an overdue reckoning. June 27, 2025, Venice glimmered with billion-dollar gondolas for Jeff and Lauren's star-stuffed wedding. Oprah, DiCaprio, the Kardashians, all present, yet the family row was conspicuously thin. No Preston in sight, no siblings either.
Paparazzi asked where the children were. Bezos reps offered no comment. Behind closed doors, sources say Preston refused the spectacle, calling it brand management dressed as vows. Whether he said it or not, his empty seat told its own story and poured gasoline on whispers of a widening father-son rift. And then came the match. A week after the wedding, a grainy 2-minute video lit up the internet. A young man, hoodie, half-zipped, face angled away from the lens, says just a handful of words. Silence becomes guilt when you know better. It's time. No names, no timestamps. Just a voice millions swear is Preston's. Deep fake? Genuine confession? Amazon's lawyers won't say. Mackenzie Scott walked out of a charity gala the moment reporters asked. Jeff, newlywed, kept his honeymoon lips sealed. With every hour of silence, the clip felt more real and more damning. Corporate crises can be managed. A son's disillusionment is a different beast. While the family drama simmered, Amazon faced its own inferno. OSHA forced a sweeping settlement over warehouse injuries. Disabled employees sued for accommodations they say never came. Union drives from North Carolina to Quebec accused Amazon of intimidation tactics. Blue Origin, meanwhile, postponed launches and laid off engineers after a failed landing and FAA corrective actions. Even the Washington Post, Bezos' journalistic trophy, made headlines when its cartoonist quit, claiming the billionaire muzzled dissenting voices. One commentator tweeted, "Empires don't fall to competitors. They crumble from the inside when values erode." Those controversies echo in Preston's rumored clip: legacy versus responsibility, power versus purpose. If the heir believes the balance is lost, the question becomes whether anyone inside the empire can restore it, and the public is suddenly part of the jury. Mainstream outlets piled on, framing Preston's words against a growing stack of headlines Jeff can't bury with prime delivery speeds. In December, Amazon signed a sweeping OSHA consent decree after federal investigators flagged widespread ergonomic hazards, forcing the company to retrofit dozens of fulfillment centers. 2 months later, Blue Origin announced 10% layoffs to fund cost overruns and flight delays, puncturing the image of an endlessly ascendant space empire. February brought another tremor when Jeff personally ordered a redesign of the Washington Post opinion pages that prompted the editor's resignation and a staff rebellion over perceived free market litmus tests for op-eds. Preston's clip became the prism through which every one of those controversies refracted. If the heir thinks the moral math no longer adds up, maybe the rest of us should recheck the ledger.
Investors noticed the temperature change. In the week after the video surfaced, Amazon stock dipped 3%. Small in dollars, yet loud in symbolism, while armchair analysts on Reddit's R Investing posted side-by-side charts titled Revenue Growth versus Reputational Drag. Some even wondered aloud whether Preston's quiet nudge could morph into activist pressure from within the Bezos family trust, especially if his 3 younger siblings decide they're done trading silence for allowances. Even the fairy tale wedding glow didn't hold. Glossy spreads of Jeff and Lauren's $50 million Venetian ceremony were suddenly crossed cross-shared with TikToks asking, "But where were the kids?" A question none of the 200 celebrity guests, from DiCaprio to Oprah, seemed able to answer. The contrast was brutal. Swarovski-encrusted place settings on one swipe, OSHA injury stats on the next.
Meanwhile, Mackenzie Scott, now praised as the anti-Bezos for gifting $19 billion to charity since the divorce, became an unexpected foil. Opinion columns painted her unfettered philanthropy as the alternate universe of what Preston might champion if he inherits even a fraction of his father's fortune. The more Jeff projects power through rockets and opinion pages, the more his ex-wife's quiet checks and his eldest son's quieter criticism highlight the human cost of the empire. So the question hanging in the air is no longer, will Amazon hit $2 trillion again? But what's left when your own blood doubts the blueprint? Preston's clip, real or deep fake, cracked the pristine casing of the Bezos myth. If the world's most stage-managed legacy can wobble with one honest sentence, every other titan is suddenly checking the foundations of their own dynasties. In that sense, the richest man alive just learned a lesson many ordinary parents face for free. A legacy isn't measured in what you build, but in what your children choose to carry forward or drop.